Ever wondered how protein powders are made? That mysterious powder that magically turns into your post-workout shake. Where does it actually come from? Is it ground-up chicken breasts? Pulverized steaks? Or maybe some secret lab experiment? Well, stick around because today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of protein powder manufacturing, and trust me, the process is way more interesting than you think. Before we start, if you're new to Fabricalo, welcome. This is where we uncover the manufacturing secrets behind everyday products. We go inside factories, break down processes, and show you exactly how things are made. If you enjoy learning about what goes into the products you use daily, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Now, back to protein powder. Every day, millions of people around the world scoop this powder into their shakers without thinking twice about its journey. But here's the thing. Creating high-quality protein powder is actually a sophisticated industrial process involving advanced technology, strict quality controls, and surprisingly complex chemistry. Today, we're taking you on a complete journey from raw ingredients to that final shake in your hand. We'll explore where the protein actually comes from, how it's extracted, what those mysterious additives really are, and yes, we'll even reveal some industry secrets that might surprise you. So grab your shaker bottle, maybe prepare a protein shake while watching, and let's get started. The protein powder industry is absolutely massive. We're talking about a global market worth over $20 billion annually, and it's projected to keep growing. But here's what's interesting. Despite how popular protein supplements have become, most people have no idea how they're actually manufactured. Protein powder isn't just one thing. There are multiple types: whey protein, casein, soy protein, pea protein, and dozens of others. Each type comes from different sources and requires unique manufacturing processes. Today, we'll focus primarily on whey protein since it's the most popular type, representing about 60% of the market. But before we get into the machinery and chemistry, let's understand what protein powder actually is. At its core, it's simply concentrated protein that's been separated from its original food source and processed into a powder form. Sounds simple, right? Well, the devil is in the details. The journey from raw material to finished product involves multiple facilities, various processing stages, quality testing at every step, and technology that would surprise most consumers. Some protein powders travel through over 15 different processing steps before they end up in that familiar tub on your shelf. So let's break down this journey, step by step, starting with where it all begins, the raw ingredients. So where does protein powder actually start? Let's talk about the raw ingredients, and I promise you, it's not what most people imagine. For whey protein, the journey begins at dairy farms. Yes, regular cow's milk is the starting point. But here's the twist. Whey protein is actually a byproduct of cheese manufacturing. When cheesemakers produce cheese, they separate milk into two parts: curds, which become cheese, and whey, which is the liquid left over. That liquid whey is where our protein powder story really begins. Now, fresh liquid whey doesn't look anything like the powder in your tub. It's a yellowish-green liquid that's about 93% water and only 6 to 7% actual solids, with protein being just a portion of those solids. It also contains lactose, fats, and minerals. For plant-based proteins, the story is different. Pea protein comes from yellow split peas, soy protein from soybeans, and rice protein from brown rice. Each requires different initial processing, but they all start as whole foods that need to be broken down. The quality of these raw ingredients is absolutely critical. Premium protein powder manufacturers source their raw materials from certified facilities that follow strict agricultural and safety standards. The cows producing the milk, or the farms growing the peas, directly impact the final product's quality. Temperature control during transportation is crucial too, because these raw materials can spoil or degrade quickly if not handled properly. Now comes the fascinating part: extraction. This is where science meets engineering, and it's honestly pretty impressive. For whey protein, that liquid we mentioned earlier needs to have the protein separated from everything else. There are two main methods used in the industry: microfiltration and ion exchange. Let me break these down in simple terms. Microfiltration is like using an incredibly fine filter. The liquid whey is pushed through ceramic membranes with microscopic pores. These pores are so tiny that only protein molecules can pass through, while fats, lactose, and larger particles get filtered out. This process happens under low temperatures to preserve the protein's natural structure. Think of it like a super advanced coffee filter, but at a molecular level. Ion exchange, on the other hand, uses electrical charges. Proteins have electrical properties, so manufacturers use charged resins that attract and bind protein molecules while letting other components pass through. It's highly efficient but can sometimes use chemical processing aids. For plant proteins, the process is different. Pea protein extraction, for example, starts with grinding dried peas into flour. Then they use water and sometimes mild alkaline solutions to separate the protein from fiber and starches. The protein dissolves while the fiber doesn't, allowing separation. The extracted protein at this stage is still quite wet, containing about 35 to 50% protein concentration. It's basically a thick, creamy liquid that needs further processing. After extraction, we enter the processing phase, and this is where that liquid protein transforms into the powder you recognize. The first major step is concentration. The protein liquid goes through additional filtration cycles to increase protein content. Depending on the final product goal, manufacturers can create different concentrations. Protein concentrate, which is typically 70 to 80% protein, or protein isolate, which is 90% or higher. More filtration cycles equal higher purity and higher cost. Next comes the game changer, spray drying. This is where liquid becomes powder, and it's actually pretty cool. The concentrated protein liquid is sprayed through high-pressure nozzles into a massive drying tower. We're talking about towers that can be several stories tall. As the tiny liquid droplets fall through hot air, the water evaporates almost instantly, leaving behind fine protein powder particles. The temperature and pressure during spray drying are carefully controlled. Too much heat damages the protein structure and reduces quality. Too little, and you get clumping or moisture problems. It's a delicate balance that requires precise engineering. Some manufacturers use an additional step called instantization. This treats the powder particles to make them dissolve better in liquids. Without this step, you'd have that annoying clumpy protein shake nobody wants. At this point, we have pure, unflavored protein powder. It's technically usable, but let's be honest, plain whey tastes pretty awful. Kind of like drinking liquid cardboard. Now we get to the fun part, making it actually taste good. Because let's face it, unflavored protein powder tastes like sadness mixed with chalk. Flavoring is both an art and a science. Manufacturers employ food scientists who specialize in creating flavor profiles that mask the natural taste of protein while creating something people actually enjoy drinking. The flavoring process happens in industrial blending equipment. We're talking massive ribbon blenders or paddle mixers that can hold thousands of pounds of powder. The base protein powder is loaded in, then carefully measured amounts of flavorings are added. Natural and artificial flavors are both used in the industry. Chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, cookies, and cream. These flavors come from concentrated flavor compounds. A chocolate protein powder might contain real cocoa powder, but also flavor enhancers that boost that chocolatey taste. Sweeteners are added during this stage too. You'll find everything from sucralose and stevia to regular sugar, depending on the product positioning. The sweetener choice dramatically affects taste, texture, and how the powder mixes. Here's something interesting. Creating a good-tasting protein powder is incredibly difficult. The protein itself has a naturally bitter, dairy-like taste that fights against whatever flavor you add. That's why some brands taste amazing while others taste like flavored cement. The blending process can take 15 to 30 minutes to ensure completely uniform distribution. You don't want some scoops tasting different than others. Now let's talk about something that makes people nervous: additives. But before you panic, most additives serve legitimate purposes and aren't the scary chemicals some people think they are. First, let's discuss lecithin, usually soy or sunflower lecithin. This is an emulsifier that helps the powder mix smoothly with liquid instead of clumping. Without it, you'd be shaking your bottle for 5 minutes and still have chunks floating around. Thickeners like xanthan gum or guar gum are added to improve texture and create that creamy mouth feel. These are natural compounds derived from plants or bacteria fermentation. They make your shake feel less watery and more satisfying. Many protein powders include digestive enzymes like protease, lactase, or bromelain. These help your body break down and absorb the protein more efficiently, reducing bloating and digestive discomfort that some people experience. Then we have the vitamins and minerals. Manufacturers often fortify protein powders with additional nutrients. B vitamins for energy metabolism, vitamin D for bone health, zinc for immune function, and so on. These are typically synthetic versions that are chemically identical to natural vitamins. Anti-caking agents like silicon dioxide prevent the powder from turning into a solid brick during storage. It's the same reason salt shakers have rice grains in them. Here's the reality. While some additives are unnecessary fillers, most serve functional purposes that improve the product's usability, digestibility, and shelf stability. Reading labels helps you understand exactly what you're consuming. After all that processing, we finally reach the packaging stage. And this isn't just about putting powder in a container. It's a critical step that determines product shelf life and quality. Modern protein powder facilities use automated packaging lines that are seriously impressive. The finished powder travels through pneumatic conveyor systems, basically tubes using air pressure to move the powder without contamination. Filling machines precisely measure and dispense the powder into containers. High-end facilities use weighing systems accurate to within a few grams, ensuring you actually get the 2 pounds or 5 pounds advertised on the label. Nobody wants to pay for 5 pounds and get 4.7. The containers themselves are specifically designed for protein powder. Most use HDPE plastic, which is food-safe, moisture-resistant, and durable. Inside, there's usually a foil seal under the lid that protects against oxygen and moisture, two enemies of protein powder quality. Some premium brands use nitrogen flushing before sealing. This replaces oxygen inside the container with nitrogen gas, which prevents oxidation and keeps the powder fresher longer. It's the same technology used for potato chips. Then comes labeling with all the required information: nutrition facts, ingredients, manufacturing date, expiration date, and batch codes for traceability. The sealed containers are packed into cardboard boxes, usually 6 to 12 units per box, and prepared for distribution. Everything happens in climate-controlled environments to prevent moisture exposure. Quality control is where reputable manufacturers separate themselves from the sketchy ones. And trust me, there's a huge difference. Testing begins with raw ingredients. Before any milk, whey, or peas enter production, samples are tested for contaminants, protein content, and microbial safety. If raw materials fail testing, they're rejected immediately. During processing, samples are pulled at multiple stages. Labs test for protein concentration accuracy, moisture content, and proper mixing. This ensures consistency from batch to batch. Here's something important: third-party testing. Reputable brands send their finished products to independent laboratories for verification. These labs test for heavy metals like lead and mercury, banned substances for athletes, and confirm the protein content matches the label claims. Unfortunately, some studies have found that not all protein powders contain what their labels claim. Some have less protein than advertised, while others contain undisclosed ingredients. This is why certifications matter. Look for certifications like NSF Certified for Sport, Informed Choice, or USP Verified. These mean independent organizations have tested the product and verified its contents. Microbiological testing checks for bacteria, mold, and pathogens. The last thing anyone wants is contaminated protein powder causing illness. Finally, there's sensory testing where trained panels taste and evaluate texture, ensuring the product meets quality standards before it ships to stores. Quality control is where reputable manufacturers separate themselves from the sketchy ones. And trust me, there's a huge difference. Testing begins with raw ingredients. Before any milk, whey, or peas enter production, samples are tested for contaminants, protein content, and microbial safety. If raw materials fail testing, they're rejected immediately. During processing, samples are pulled at multiple stages. Labs test for protein concentration accuracy, moisture content, and proper mixing. This ensures consistency from batch to batch. Here's something important: third-party testing. Reputable brands send their finished products to independent laboratories for verification. These labs test for heavy metals like lead and mercury, banned substances for athletes, and confirm the protein content matches the label claims. Unfortunately, some studies have found that not all protein powders contain what their labels claim. Some have less protein than advertised, while others contain undisclosed ingredients. This is why certifications matter. Look for certifications like NSF Certified for Sport, Informed Choice, or USP Verified. These mean independent organizations have tested the product and verified its contents. Microbiological testing checks for bacteria, mold, and pathogens. The last thing anyone wants is contaminated protein powder causing illness. Finally, there's sensory testing where trained panels taste and evaluate texture, ensuring the product meets quality standards before it ships to stores. So after that incredible journey from dairy farm or pea field through extraction, processing, flavoring, and packaging, your protein powder finally arrives at your doorstep or local supplement store. But here's what's fascinating. The manufacturing process directly impacts how you should use the product. Understanding how it's made actually helps you make better choices and get better results. For example, now you know why protein isolate costs more than concentrate. Those extra filtration cycles remove more lactose and fat, making it purer but more expensive to produce. If you're lactose intolerant, that extra processing matters. You also understand why some proteins mix better than others. That lecithin we talked about. That's why premium brands dissolve smoothly while budget options leave you with chunky disasters. Storage matters too. Remember that moisture is protein powder's enemy? Keep your container sealed tight, store it in a cool, dry place, and never use a wet scoop. Those simple steps protect all that careful manufacturing work. When choosing a protein powder, you're now equipped with knowledge. Look for third-party certifications, check ingredient lists for unnecessary fillers, and understand that the cheapest option might cut corners somewhere in this process we've discussed. The protein powder industry has come incredibly far. What started as a niche bodybuilding supplement has become mainstream, with manufacturing processes that rival pharmaceutical production in sophistication and quality control. From liquid whey or ground peas to that scoop in your shaker bottle, you've now seen the entire journey. Multiple facilities, dozens of workers, advanced technology, and strict quality controls all working together to create that convenient protein source. So next time you mix up a shake, you'll appreciate the engineering marvel you're holding. It's not just powder, it's the result of agricultural science, chemical engineering, food technology, and quality assurance all combined. If you enjoyed this deep dive into protein powder manufacturing and want to see more videos breaking down how everyday products are made, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We've got tons of fascinating manufacturing processes coming up. Drop a comment below. What product do you want to see manufactured next? A lot of you have been requesting pre-workout supplements, energy drinks, or even how gym equipment is made. Let me know. Thanks for watching Fabricalo, where we uncover the manufacturing secrets behind your favorite products. Until next time, keep learning, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.